Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday night edition of Inside the Headset, as we're sponsored by John Jones Real Estate. Nobody sells homes like John. It's the Wednesday night edition of Inside the Headset, and we can't thank you enough for joining us. We're going to roll down and get this show started as we're in our spring edition of the show, and we're going to crank it up with the Hall of Fame head coach. Ladies and gentlemen, he's in the Hall of Fame, like I said, 474 wins, 82 losses. This is starting his 42nd year as a head coach. They had to build a jewelry box for all the rings and the trophies and everything he's got. Still rides a bicycle. He's 70 years old, and he joins us tonight live from Chattanooga, Tennessee, the head coach of the Boyd Buchanan Buccaneers, head coach Gary Rankin. How you doing tonight, Coach?
Dork, I'm great, man. I appreciate you calling. I'm doing good.
Well, Coach, let's start it off. You finished last season 7-4 and got to the first round of the playoffs and 3-3 in the district or the region, and heading into this right now in your second year as Boyd Buchanan head coach for the Bucks. How do you go about this thing? I mean, you've been doing this a long time, but where are you in the journey of getting these guys ready? And I'll let you take it away.
Well, we're certainly in a building process. I feel like in the first year we got our foundation set. We got our culture about the way that we wanted to get it started. It's a process, and I just hired I've been hiring coaches and trying to get everything set up just like I wanted, but I'm pretty well pleased with the first year. We were in every ball game except one, and that was a pretty big improvement from the year before. There was a lot of games that were out of by halftime, so our kids competed. Like I say, we were in every game probably besides the Webb game, and we just didn't show up that night, and we played CPA in the playoffs, and we weren't going to beat them, but we hung around with them a little bit, and I thought our kids played really good the last game. So I could see good things. I could see us getting better as the year went on. It takes a little bit to get your coaching staff and things in line like you want it, but I feel pretty good about where we are right now. Like I say, it's a building process, but I really feel good that we set the foundation. I think our guys know what to expect, and we'll see how this second year goes.
Talk a little bit about that interview process as you talk to coaches and, you try to figure out what you need. Take us through a little bit of that when you sit down with a coach you would like to get on your staff. And, of course, you've probably already scouted. I mean, you've been around. This is your 42nd season. I mean, come on. But you kind of know what you're looking for. Are these guys that you have coached with before, or take it away?
Different ones, but, first and foremost, I look for a good person. There's no doubt it starts there with me. I want a good family man. I want a guy that's got high morals, high values, and, loves to be around children and work with kids. So I've been pretty fortunate. I don't do a whole lot of interviewing. I call around, and, I'm fortunate enough to know a lot of coaches. And when I'm looking for somebody, if I don't know them well, I know somebody does know them well. And we just hired the head coach at Franklin County, Justin Cunningham, better known as Country. And, I didn't know him personally, but I knew tons of people that had worked around him, coached against him, and he was exactly what we were looking for our O-line position. And we were able to get him, and should be a tremendous help to us. But, I've been fortunate because in the last 30 or 40 years of being a head coach, I've had great chemistry on our coaching staffs, and I think that's so important. If you don't enjoy who you're sitting around every day working with and, and clawing and fighting and screaming and crying with, it probably wouldn't be near as enjoyable. I've had a couple of bad apples, I would say, in the 40 years, but I've been very fortunate, very lucky to have guys on our staff that work well together, that care about kids. So that's one thing I'm really proud of and really feel blessed about, that I've had some great guys to work with.
when you talk about that management process and you're trying to tell that coach where you want him to adjust or what you want him to do
Right.
as a leader, how do you go about that, Coach? I mean, you've been a leader for a long time. Do you just tell them abruptly, or do you have a short meeting with them after a practice? How does that go
Well,
down?
I think most of them know what the expectations are, and I really haven't hired a lot of guys that weren't ready to coach. And I'm not a micromanager guy. I give people jobs to do, and I expect them to get it done. And that's the way most of them want it. I always tell our guys, we got 9 head coaches or 10 head coaches on this staff, and you're the head coach of those linebackers, or you're the head coach of that offensive line, and that's your group, and you'll be judged on that. So I've been real lucky, real fortunate. I've hired so many coaches that were better than me, so many coaches that went on to be head coaches, and I learned a lot from every one of them.
Well, and spring practice is right around the corner. Talk a little bit about spring practice and what you need to get done in that short period of time. I mean, I know you guys have been lifting a lot of weights in the off season and trying to get these guys bigger and stronger and faster, but talk a little bit about that 2s and 3s, and I know you're going to be a little bit fragmented because you got some guys probably playing baseball and some other spring sports, but talk about the importance of the 2s and the 3s that need to get that repetition.
Well, Stork, it's so different at every school, and at Boyd, probably out of a 55-man squad, probably 48 of ours play different sports, so they're into something. So we have to be pretty creative in the spring and do what we can and get what we can out of it. But I want our kids playing other sports. I know there's probably some coaches that are selfish and don't want that out of their players, but I want our kids to enjoy high school. I love to see them compete in a different sport. And here, like I say, just about our whole team is playing something else. So we'll have a spring practice. We have to be pretty creative and see who we're going to have. And it's hard for me to plan it out sometime because you may be 3 or 4 days in practice and your baseball team or your soccer team or your lacrosse team will get put out of the tournament and you get those kids back. So, we try to get everything we can done in the spring. It's a challenge, and it's a challenge at a lot of small schools that play a lot of sports. So, but we'll get some work done with our younger guys, and like I say, we're trying to find some of those guys in the spring that might can play.
7-on-7, will you participate in that when that rolls around?
You will in the summer, and I think every football coach in the state does that now. It's becoming a little AAU-ish. There's a lot of kids that participate in that almost year-round now. So we have some kids that participate in it, but we're pretty mindful about really working our kids hard and make sure they get time off. So I think that's a fine line in coaching now and what we're trying to do with kids. And, you got that dead period built in the middle of summer, which I'm all for. I think it's a great idea. Don't necessarily like the timing of it, but I do like the ability for the kids to get away from all sports, all coaches, and have some time, a couple of weeks by themselves. But, there's no doubt that athletics now is turned in almost to a year-round thing, and the strength and conditioning is so important, and we think that we're a much stronger football team than we were last year. So hopefully those things will pay off for us this time.
Logistically, anything you would like to say, in changes, because a lot of people don't understand when you do a home game, it's different when you're at home. The meals come in and that's a big organization, just having a football operations manager in high school football. And like you said, feeding 60, 50, whatever kids, because they have to eat at 4:30, whatever, because they're getting ready for a game at 7 o'clock. There's a lot that goes in. I mean, people have no earthly idea how much it goes in to put on a home game, much less put them on the road, feed them on the road, and try to get them out on the field and then get all the equipment reloaded and the film crew and everything you got going on. It's an operation and a circus every Friday night, is it not, Coach?
It's an operation, and we try to do a good job of delegating authority to different people on different jobs, and there's a lot to be done on Friday and a Friday night. And the meals, you always want your kids fed good before the game, and I always try to feed my kids after the game sometime because I literally have some kids maybe not at Boyd, but at certain places I've been, that you worry about them not being able to eat again before they, before they get
Mm-hmm.
home. So, uh, um, there's just so much that goes into Friday and the preparation. But I've always tried to delegate things through the coaching staff and try to make sure nobody's loaded down, but everybody's doing their part.
What's changed logistically? You've been at Smith County, you've been at Riverdale, you've been at Alcoa, and now at Boyd Buchanan. When you go through a Friday night and you run through those logistics and the game time preparation, what have you changed, Coach Rankin,
Perfect. I think one of the biggest things that's changed is the ability to get film from other schools. Stork, I can remember when I first started, we had to take our film to Nashville. After ball game sometime, I would leave Smith County. I would leave Smith County at 11 o'clock at night and get in Nashville at 12 and have to wait till 4 or 5 in the morning, sleeping in the car, waiting for a guy to process that film. So there's so much change, and then you're out on the road switching it out over the weekend. So with technology and all that stuff, it's made it a whole lot easier on the weekends. I think it's been good for coaches. I think it's cut down on some coaching work on the weekends, and I have a lot of young coaches on my staff that have children, and we really try to be aware of their responsibilities with their own children during the weekend. So we try to pick and choose when we can work and when we can get the most out of our work, and make sure that our coaches and their families have weekends during the fall. I hear it all the time that coaches are pulled away from their families all during the fall, and I don't buy into that. I really don't. I think there's enough time to get it done. Now, sometimes we work on Thursday afternoons and stuff, but you got to have a good balance in there with family and football when the fall rolls around, and I think we've done a pretty good job of that year in, year out.
150 days away, right around that, Coach, before we get into the grind of the 10 games. What's got to happen for Boyd Buchanan, and then we'll let you get off there?
Well, one thing for us is just getting stronger as a football team, and then making sure we have to get what we can get out of our spring, and then have a productive summer like all the other coaches in the state of Tennessee are trying to do. But it's exciting. I still have fun. I'm looking forward to it. There's a lot of buzz around town, right around our campus, about our football program and our football team. So hopefully we can continue to get better and get where we can compete, every Friday night with every team that we play.
If we load up the Stork Vision team, our team, and bring Judy the Beauty and Anthony Fiorella, you get us in, let us do a broadcast if we come down.
Oh, you got to quit teasing me, Stork. You've been saying that for the last year now. I need you down here to do one.
Well, I tell you what, we're gonna figure it out, Coach. And Anthony Fiorella, we're gonna come down and see you, because you've been awful special to the state of Tennessee, and you've coached a lot of kids, and there ain't one of them that won't say that you haven't changed their lives, and their leadership, and I think that's what you stress the most, and you said it earlier. I mean, you want them to grow up to be fine fathers and good men in their jobs, and high school football, it makes you into a good young man, doesn't it?
There's no doubt. As long as you got good leadership and you're leading the kids in the right way, and as you get into this and you've been into it for a few years, and you see players that played for you that are sitting in church with their 3 kids, or out to eat with their 3 kids and their wife, I mean, those things start taking on a different meaning, and that's one of the most gratifying things about the whole deal. So, I've really been blessed. I've been fortunate. If it would all end when we get through this conversation, I certainly wouldn't have anything to complain about. So it's been great for me. I hope I can continue to do it for a while, but I've really been blessed.
Coach, we're going to get you to 500. Don't think we're not. We're all pulling for you, because we want to see you get that bell cow of 500 wins. I mean, you're only 26 away. It's a short time, and I know that who would not want that accomplishment, to put up 500 high school football wins when there's only 10 in a season. I mean, it's a short period away, and you've trudged down the gravel road this far. I mean, you got to go. You got to go for the pinnacle. Who wouldn't? I mean, if who wouldn't?
Like I say, I've been so fortunate and so lucky, and it's been probably a little easier for me than it has been for some people because we just had so much success. But it's tough now to guys to get in and coach as long as I have because there's so many things that's changed. Probably a little bit more demanding year round, and things have changed a little bit. So I feel very fortunate to be able to do what I've done for this long.
Coach, we love you to death, and I can't wait to come down to Boyd Buchanan, and we'll talk to you real soon on Inside the Headset.
Appreciate you, Stuart. Thank you, son.
Thank you.
Thank you.